Fairfield, Fairfield, Fairfield. Look who we've got on the show today. Look at this guy, Eli Lieb and Jeffrey Headquist. I don't know how much better it gets.
I do, but I'm not telling.
Would you please go ahead? Okay, now, what we want to do today is we want to hear music from both of them. So we're going to also yap a little and get some quality interview time with both of them. But hang in there for the end, or what we'll seem the end of the show, because there's going to be some performance at the end, okay? And let's just dive in with this very exciting episode, Fairfield 2.0. I'm Mike Ragogna most of the time. And look, we have CDs on this table. And we have one by Eli Lieb, our fine gentleman to the extreme, my right. And also Jeffrey Headquist.
Not a fine gentleman.
Not a fine gentleman at all, but a really, really good musician. And we'll talk about what's going on with these new projects. But first, let's get Eli going, because Eli, we've been trying to arrange this for a long time. Actually, both of you, we've been trying to do this for a while now. And as the Cosmos organized, we have both of you on the show today, which I think is wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. Eli, you are a YouTube star, basically. You have millions of hits on a lot of your videos. What, we'll do a little backtracking because I want to get some history, etc. But I want to know, how in the world did this happen? Not many people can put up a video and have millions of hits. And there had to be one which turned the corner for you, right?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it's really difficult for somebody to put up a video that doesn't have any videos or views and then get 1 million views.
Right.
I think most things, even if they appear to be quick or a topple over of one thing, most things are like a gradual incline and putting in a lot of work. So I've been making videos now for like 3 years on YouTube, and the first one that got over 1 million views was a cover of an Adele song that I did. But before that, I had maybe had like 15 or 20 videos up.
That were like original?
That were all building up and building up. No, not original. I mean, I had some original, but mainly covers.
Yeah.
Because the thing with the covers is that if you do write your own music, if you were just to put your own music out on YouTube with nobody knowing who you are, nobody would ever find it, no matter what the quality of the work was. So the covers are a way for people to learn who you are. So you put up a cover song because people are searching for, let's say Katy Perry or Adele, and then they come across you and then like what you do, and then they dive further into what you do as a musician. And then once you start getting the views and people paying attention to you, then you can introduce your own music. But a friend suggested that I just put my music on YouTube because I've been doing music for a very long time, and I went through maybe like a 3-year period where I didn't do anything, and I kind of wanted to get back into it. And then this friend of mine who was in the industry kind of just suggested, he's like, why don't you just start putting stuff on YouTube? And I kind of didn't really want to at first, but then I just started doing it, and it kind of, I remember when I got like 30,000 views, I thought that was a lot.
Yeah.
And now if a video gets 30,000 views, I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, you got spoiled. Nice.
But it can take a while, and it's definitely a lot of hard work. Yeah. So I don't think that there was one thing that like became viral and then got me noticed. It was just kind of like a combination of a lot of stuff.
But the Adele was the one that turned the corner, the Adele song.
I mean,
Adele
I have
cover.
2 videos right now that have over 1 million views, which is the Adele Someone Like You cover, and then a Lana Del Rey cover of her song Born to Die. But I have a number of songs that are like 500,000, 250,000, like between 250,000 and 1 million.
Yeah.
And the total is like close to 7 million now.
Cool.
But those ones were definitely, if anybody ever recognizes me and says they saw me on YouTube, it's usually for the Adele song or the Lana Del Rey one.
Nice. When you choose your covers, I mean, that was strategic in how you did that, but you also have some affinity to the material, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, depending on what you want from putting a cover on, because, whatever anybody sets out to do, they can all have a different want. Some people could put them out just because they like to and don't have any business side of it.
Right.
But there is if you really want to get noticed, there is a business side to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll never put out a song that I don't personally like. But the reality is that if I put out a song of an artist that nobody really knows about, it could be satisfying for me, but it won't serve the purpose of getting more fans and more people seeing who you are.
Right.
So you have to really be smart about what songs you choose to cover. I mean, you need to pick something that's current and something that people are like currently searching for. So a good song to do, I just did a cover of the new Adele song Skyfall for the James Bond movie.
Yeah.
So you have a number of things going for you for that. Adele is super popular and she hasn't released anything new in a while, and the movie isn't out yet. Yeah. So if you get in that window, the chances of you getting a lot more views are much higher because people are searching for it currently.
Right. Have people caught on to that concept, and also, like, are you not alone in doing this, and are there others also?
Yeah, there's like a whole slew of...
As successful as you've been?
Oh, yeah, and like more, you know?
Yeah.
There's definitely this like YouTube niche that there's like a group of people that, you know, people know who they are, I guess.
So are you in that top 10? I mean, now all of a sudden it's another kind of criteria.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm pretty well in the nook.
Nice.
But if you look at these people, there's so many covers that are mirrored from each other because everybody knows that you know. I mean, I love Tracy Chapman and I sing her when I do a concert, but if I put out a video on YouTube, unless I was already like hugely popular, you know, it's just not going to get a lot of views.
Right. Now, when I saw you at the Song Hunt, excuse me, you covered a couple of songs which were wonderful. You did the Tracy Chapman song, right? You Fast Car, which I thought was really a smart cover. But you also did another amazing smart cover, which was the Kate Bush song, This Woman's Work.
Yeah.
I would never have expected anyone to cover that song based on, she's one of those artists that's like, ooh, you just don't cover Kate Bush. You know, it's sort of like Van Morrison, there's some people you just don't cover. Neil Young you do cover, I was going to go there.
I don't really have I don't ever have rules for myself.
Yeah.
I don't say like, because of this, you can't do it. If there's something I feel compelled to do, I'll just do it, regardless of what others might say or shy against. If I feel like it's something right, then I just do it. And usually, I think if you follow that feeling you have inside, no matter what you're doing, you'll have success with it because you're following the inner intuition.
Nice.
That song I haven't recorded yet, but I want to. And that might be one of the ones that I put up that might not get a lot of views, but I put up just because I like it.
The aesthetics of it, would be good. Jeffrey Hedquist, okay. Jeff, you've been in this community for a while. Mm-hmm. You knew Eli as a kid?
Not really.
No.
You know where I met? I actually heard about Eli was through Paul Farsa, who I'd done decades worth of music from, and I think the first thing that I heard was something that he and Paul had done way back early. It was a pre-first album effort.
I'm 33 now, I think. I have no idea how old I am.
You're 33?
I'm 33, I think. 32, 33.
I've been 33 a couple times.
But I've been writing songs since I was 16, and that Paul Farsa demo I made with him, I did that when I was like
19 or something.
18 or something. You know, and I've done so many other recordings since then.
Oh, yeah.
But
so how did that, because I got to get the history lesson now too. This being Fairfield 2.0, what is the story of how you got together with Paul? I mean, just creative, you went to the studio and he produced you, or how'd that work?
I think I don't really remember. I can just probably piece in my mind that like we're friends with their family, and I'd started getting into it, and my family's always been really supportive of me making music, and it probably just kind of naturally happened that
I'm here. Who can I get to do to help produce this thing?
Yeah.
What about Paul? Yeah, okay, fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, you have an incredible history as well. You were in radio. You're one of the major producers as far as voiceover, and you're always performing. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Before we go to the superhero origin story with Eli, could we get that with you? How did you? What's your timeline been? You were in radio first, right?
Well,
or you did music first?
I actually got my first job in radio. I was 16,
Yeah.
working at this little station, and it was, and I got the job because we were performing. I, started performing in high school. I was 14. We had folk music groups and that sort of thing, clones of the Kingston Trio. And then we were performing at this radio station, and he said, we kind of like your voice. You ever thought of doing radio on Saturday afternoons? We have a high school kid come in. Would you like to be that kid? So I did that for a while until I got fired. And then
Beg your pardon.
it was my auspicious beginning in radio. And I really liked it and got into radio when I was in college, and a long history of doing that, and then emceeing shows and meeting a lot of the early, performers in the 60s, but always continuing to perform in groups, and not much so until my junior year in college, I started writing songs.
Okay.
And then I became more of a solo performer, and have continued that as an avocation for the last few years.
Cool.
Okay.
Now you also also have the voiceover a producer part coming in. Where did that start?
So I got a job at a radio station, like 1968, 7, something like that, after I graduated, and did that for a while until I got fired. And
a recurring theme.
Are you seeing a pattern here? Not a good employee, good entrepreneur, and so I started a company making radio commercials, and we did radio, and we did film, and we did animation, and we did multi-image, and we did all that. But everything that I loved radio and audio more than anything else. So then when I moved here some 28 years ago, that's what I continued. So I have talent agents around the country that represent me as just a voice.
Nice.
And then we have clients in 45 states and a few countries that come to us to write and produce radio commercials. We get very good results for clients. And in addition to that, I've learned how to tell stories, and so I do seminars on storytelling and improv around North America.
And what about when you do your storytelling? Is it accompanied by music?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, because great songs are great stories. And
double hit.
Yeah, exactly. It's great fun to kind of combine all that.
Where did you've had a lot of like online success too, right? You've done some voiceover spots, etc.
A lot of voiceover, both for we did for instance, we do audiobooks, and we've done all the Chicken Soup for the Soul audio. We did 27 versions of that. So we're waiting for the Chicken Soup for the left-handed plumber's assistant.
We're starting to get to those realms.
Yeah. So we've done that, and we continue to do audiobooks, working on another one now. We've done work for Marvel Comics. We've done work for DC Comics and some some of their action comics and that sort of thing. So I did the voice of Ant-Man and Wolverine and a few other superheroes. You'd never know. And so we do that.
Wolverine, I want to hear your Wolverine.
Well, you're not going to.
All right.
I'll send you online.
Okay, thank you very much.
With all the effects and music.
Jason, we got to put it on. We'll right about now. We'll play a little of the Wolverine. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So there it is. So I'm a writer. I'm a speech giver. I do concerts, and the concerts are all original, occasional covers, but mostly original stuff. And I have pockets of fans throughout the country who don't know each other and think that I'm the only one that they know.
Very nice. Yeah. Nicely done. And by the way, this is the album, the latest album, Assorted Flavors. I've heard you play. I'm looking at this track list on the back here, and I've heard you play almost all of these.
I think so, yeah. You clapped at this one. This one you clapped at. The others you were really quiet.
Yeah, because I was they were very introspective. Right. They were very introspective. I had to reflect. But I love the cover. I love the design of this also. When you put these albums together, do you have like is it every couple of years? Is there you need to be putting out CDs, albums, right?
In terms of writing songs that would work in albums, I'm probably 6 albums ahead.
I see. Right.
So when I can gather enough money together and get enough resources and other players, then we'll do one. So that's usually it.
All right, we have Eli over here, and we talked about earlier. It's sort of like, how did you come across and all that, but using Eli as an example, Eli is like one of the. I'll go on record, and I think everybody would agree. You're one of the finer representatives of Iowa as far as a musical talent and also your level of success of Fairfield, Iowa. And Iowa, I would say right now, it seems like the scene is expanding because we have some pretty energetic, ever-ready bunnies in town. We have the Rabelays, we have Lane Weaver, we have the Dallers, we have the Hurlins, the Cohens, this is Joey Del Rey. I'm forgetting people. Sorry if I forgot you, but there's a lot of talent that's happened in this small little town of what, 10,000?
Yeah. Sometimes it's happened here, and sometimes people have been attracted here. When Arthur Leland was here, Truck Stop Souvenir moved here.
That's right.
A lot of people have moved here simply because it's a great community. Yeah.
Yeah. Eli, you were living in New York to that point. You were living in New York and you came back.
Yeah, I grew up here and I moved to New York when I was 20 and then moved back when I was 30. So I was there for a decade.
So what'd you do for 10 years? Don't leave anything out.
I did a lot of music. I moved there to do music, and when I first moved there, I took classes at the New School just for a year to sort of transition to New York and to just, I think it's more of just a transition. And then I quickly started performing basically at open mics, and then what seemed to happen was every time that I performed somewhere, something came of it. So there'd be somebody in the audience who then wanted to work with me or knew somebody, or I'd book a show at the place that I open mic'd, and the performances would always lead into something. So pretty quickly on, I all of a sudden was making a demo, and then the demo got in the hands of like at the time, a really well-known manager, and now is like a huge manager.
Who's the manager?
His name is Jonathan Daniel. He manages like Fall Out Boy, and I don't know if he's still managing Courtney Love, but like big names, so we started working together, and I just kind of really quickly started being introduced to different songwriters and producers. And I guess the whole thing with like when a manager sends you out to meet with a producer or a songwriter, it's like, in a way, it's like dating. You see if it works or not, because when you meet with another songwriter, you can tell so quickly if it works between you or not. So it's kind of, you just keep on meeting people, and then you find a team that kind of works well together. And we had sort of pieced together a good team. It was basically me, aside from like the management part, me and this other producer. I didn't produce at the time. He produced, and then we both wrote the songs together. It was a great experience. I was really young and didn't fully know myself or what I wanted for my whole life. Yeah. So when you're really quickly in these like major studios and being taken to all the record labels, and it's like very enticing because you don't really think this kind of stuff happens, especially like within a year. Yeah. So it kind of like would get to a point where you start to want to just give the labels what they want. So if you give them something and they're like, we really like this, but can you do this to it? You're like, yes, I can do that. Right. Because all you want to do is please them. Yeah. And I don't blame anybody, but I was a full active participant in that process. But then it sort of gets to a point where you step far enough away from your actual point of view, and sort of at the height of that, a lot of other like personal stuff happened in my life that sort of made me just stop. So I like very abruptly stopped everything, and then probably didn't even like play music, write a song for 3 years.
Wow. How old were you? What were the years? Well, how old were you?
Like 20, maybe 25 to like 28 or something.
Yeah. Was it a writer's block, or was it you just didn't want to get into the...
No, writing? It wasn't. It was, my father passed away. So there was that with a combination of just like other weird stuff that kind of just like made me stop. Yeah. And it wasn't writer's block. I just didn't try.
You just didn't try,
Yeah. Okay. And then that's actually how I got into doing the YouTube stuff, is that I became friends with somebody who I had later, after I knew him, realized that he was a very prominent person in the music industry. I mean, at that time, I didn't really have a point of view. I didn't say to him, like, I want a record deal. I want to do this. I was just sort of, I kind of want to get back into it. What would you suggest?
Yeah.
So he suggested doing
do
YouTube.
this.
And then that's when that sort of started taking place. And then it kind of, at the same time of defining who I was as a musician, because I had to be self-contained, teach myself everything, I was also at the age where I was starting to really define myself as a human.
Right.
To know what I want from my life.
Yeah.
And I started to realize that the kind of lifestyle and life that involves being like really major label mainstream is just not what I have interest in life-wise. I mean, I'm always open to anything. The right situation could present itself.
Yeah.
Saying we want to do this with you, but we don't want to strip away your desire for your life, your quality of life.
Yeah.
But I've found that the best way to hold on to that now is to be independent. And I think with the internet, it is really starting to enable you to be more independent than you could have been a while ago.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I want to tour and play a lot of shows, but in the meantime, you know, my videos are getting like, I just looked at the statistics, getting like between 20 and 30,000 views a day. So it's where, yes, touring is essential. I'm also, even if I just sit at home on the couch for a day and do nothing, like there's that many people that see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I am actually really enjoying the independent process right now.
You're on the virtual stage all the time.
Yeah.
It's not even having to be out there, although your stage performances are great. I've seen 2 of them so far. Eli, I have to confess, you were at the butt of a couple of conversations I had on this show based on, not you personally, you're great, but the concept of Fairfield, and this kind of, I want to bring Jeff into this, it's my observation that we're so supportive here that sometimes, and this is to your point about when you were younger, also, with like still feeling around and trying to see what's real. Sometimes Fairfield, and this is just an observation, and this is maybe every small town, but it's my first exposure to it, where they are so supportive that you don't really get a gauge. I didn't get a gauge on how really good you were because everybody was on their feet with standing ovations after everything. And I confess, that has come up in conversation a couple of times with regards to, well, just how good is in general, how good is the talent of Fairfield? Am I just liking my football team, or is everybody,
No, the
or
talent,
is there?
I mean, that definitely, I think, exists in any small town. It's sort of just like the family mentality where everybody is very supportive.
It's our guy.
That's right.
It's just like a tremendous amount of support. But I definitely can recognize that there is an extreme amount of talent here, and that's me coming from spending a lot of time outside of Fairfield.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, New York, you go to New York, LA, there's a ton of musicians, there's a ton of everything entertainment, but what percentage is actually really quality?
Right.
You know, there are some great people there, but there's a lot of not great people.
Yeah, and it's right, and it would attract because those are the places you would go for fame and fortune, or to be able to, or a place where you would express yourself creatively. It doesn't necessarily mean that the art is, well, I don't want to say it like that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that makes it, you know, a place of incredible, you know, nothing but talent.
Yeah.
Either. Yeah.
The other difference here is that, you know, not that I don't want to generalize and say one place is one kind of thing and the other is the other, but the thing that I have noticed also about, I'll stick to musicians here, is that people really are doing it because they really love it.
Yeah.
Nobody here has the desire to be famous. They want to be successful with what they're doing, but none of the like perks that come along with like fame are the things that are appealing. There's none of this like smoke and clouds that just get in your eyesight. Mm-hmm. People are really just happy to be living here and being able to do what they do. And I feel like when you're creating something from that place, you can feel it much more in the work.
Yeah, it comes off more honest, no matter what the art is, and which is why I have the feeling everybody gets it. Thus the standing ovations after everything is because people are getting it because it's honest. And that's probably the most important part.
But also people here are really talented.
And also people here are there are a lot of discerning, you know.
Well, the thing is that this is one of the best audiences to play for in the country. I mean,
as every act who comes through Cafe
exactly.
Sondheim says.
Although playing here is Like, I don't really get nervous anymore for any performances, but it's much different playing here because you go into an audience and you literally know every single person in the audience.
And they've known you since you were like, you
yeah.
know.
So it's like, it's not more nerve-wracking. What I find it harder is it's harder to like have the stage banter for me because stage banter is sort of like, it's small talk.
Yeah.
And how do you small talk like your mother or your best friend?
Exactly.
You know, it's like, I don't really have any funny stories to tell you because you know everything about me.
Exactly.
So,
and I can't make up anything.
So maybe I'm just going to be singing to you this
yeah.
evening.
Cool. And it was you performed with Ann Carlisle. That was amazing. The two of you blended so really sweetly at your last performance.
She's another amazing musician from Fairfield, and she and I have been really close friends for like over half our lives now. And we've been friends or like known each other since really young, and then we became much closer because we played opposite each other in the Mikado in high school.
Is that right? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you go that far back.
And her parents, of course, have been performing here for decades.
The
so it's
Carlisles.
like,
Yeah.
By the way, we were talking to Eli about all things musical, but we haven't really, given props to your record yet. Eli Lieb, self-titled. Wait. This way. Okay. Right. So I'm wondering what is your creative process? How did you pull this off? And you worked with Owen, right? Owen Blake. A little bit?
He came in and helped me like refine everything. I had recorded most of the stuff already, but the whole process with that was basically this is my result of learning how to use all the equipment. I had never been a producer before, and I one day just decided I wanted to start making music, so I bought like some of the programs for a computer to be able to do that. You know, like a not very good microphone and kind of the basics.
Right.
And I basically taught myself how to use the whole thing. So like I'm really proud of that album, and I like how it came out. But now I'm working on a next one, and like I know so much more.
Yeah.
You know, so it's.
And one of the songs on your new album, which you can't play yet because you got to save it for the new album, you played at the Sondheim the other night, which was absolutely amazing. Your last song before the encores was called "Found."
Yeah.
Oh my God, that really was touching. I was listening to that, and I'm going, I so identify with that. It was really great. And you must be looking at half of the musical population here, and feeling like a mentor because you really have been around and embraced and been a part of this whole musical community for a while now, and you've helped people along. You've helped out people. You've given them voiceover gigs. You've helped out where you can as far as playing background instrumentally and all that. You must this role of mentor for you. I mean, I know you got to feel it on some level, right? When
well, it's at the same time, it's symbiotic. I've learned as much from other musicians, old musicians, young musicians, as I may have taught anybody, and probably learned more than I've actually passed on. So but I've helped people become writers. Actually,
yeah, there you go.
Or maybe voice people, and then there's our farm where we have a group of students from the Sustainable Learning Program out there living and trying everything that they learned in class out on the fields.
Actually working.
So we got sustainable farming going on there, and they get to get some real world experience there. And I'm probably more of a mentor there than anywhere else because we're turning it into a whole prairie learning center.
Cool.
Agricultural learning center.
Something I didn't know. I'm glad you brought that up.
There's much more that you
tell us another thing that we don't know. Please, one more thing. One more, Jesse.
I'm right-handed.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right. So, you jump on a stage. If there's a stage, you're on it, and you're there with your guitar. There's a love of performing. You could just see it. There's a love of always wanting to perform on your end.
It's magical. I mean, you can, and you know this. You perform a song in your bedroom, and it's one thing. You perform it in front of an audience, and it's a totally different experience because it's food.
It's food.
The energy you feel from people is extremely palpable.
Yeah.
Now with you, I'm with both of you. The town so loves both of you that's part of it. That's not every stage. When you're performing elsewhere, they're getting to know you more than they love you, or in places where you play.
Some of the times it's a nightmare. I mean, New York is a really rough place for performers because even a good venue will have at least half of the entire people in there completely just talking at the top of their lungs and not really paying attention. Because, you know, a lot of people will go just because they want to go hang out and have drinks with their friends. Or a lot of these places also will have like 3 bands in one night, and they literally just go right after another. So if you have a group of people who come to see band number 1, they all stay and like talk to the band afterwards and have drinks. So they're all there, but they're very loud while you are trying to perform.
Band number 2 is performing.
Yes. So it's like on that type of show, you don't rely on the audience energy. You have to just sort of like bring it yourself, because you know, it's very difficult in some places to like have a captivated audience, and especially like when you perform songs that are quiet on a guitar, you know, intimate songs.
One of my favorite venues is in New York is the Sidewalk Cafe, because
that's my first place I ever went.
Is that right? Well,
that's the open mic that I went to.
I remember they had maybe it was an open mic night, although it seemed like it was a little more organized than an open mic night. But what happened was two of my friends. One friend was playing there, and then a future friend played next. I was watching something very interesting happen with regards to what you're talking about. The audience lingers from the last act. In this case, my friend played first. Actually, it's my musical partner from the 80s, this guy Steve Mosto. And he had a certain amount of people that were there, but then he brought in, he brought in whoever. And then everybody was ready to leave, but then this other kid showed up. Bob Hillman is his name. And I ended up working with him for a few years, and I passed him on to my old producer, Tommy West, who loved him. And the first time he heard, I did some demos with him. First time he heard him, he said, I have to produce this kid. It was that audience. There was something about, sometimes there's something about a performer where, in that venue, in Sidewalk Cafe, where there's a level of, you understand you're supposed to be polite.
Well, the Sidewalk, I was just thinking, because I hadn't even thought about that.
Because they loved him. The last audience loved him in addition to that.
That place
so it kept
was
cascading.
Much more supportive in that way. You know, I feel like, because the Sidewalk, it's like, you know, deep in the East Village, and it's not a sceney place. Yeah. It's just kind of a really chill place to go that a lot of musicians go to. Whereas some of these other, like, bigger venues that aren't, like, technically big, but, like, name-wise, they're bigger.
Yeah.
They attract a lot of people that are, like, very sceney.
Well, for instance, in the city, Bitter End and places like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Sidewalk, I remember people... the audience, the fans usually bleeding a little bit more and paying attention because they kind of wanted to discover people. You know, a lot of these other bands, they'll have their fans come because they just think this band is so cool, and then they don't care about anybody else. So it's, you know, it's a little more of a artist's place, I think.
It is. Eli Lieb at 33, talking to Eli Lieb at 20 when you got to New York. What would you say? What would you tell him? What would you warn him?
You're going to be living back in Fairfield, Iowa. By choice.
By choice. Jeffrey Headquist of now to Jeffrey Headquist, the 16-year-old at the radio station. No, not the 16-year-old. After you graduated college and you started to be more serious.
Yeah, well, after I graduated college, I was going to get a job.
Right.
And now I would just say, don't count on having a job. You're an entrepreneur. You can't work for anybody else. Just do. And, well, the key thing I tell anybody who's young, who's just getting started in whatever they're doing, is do something that you would absolutely do for no money at all. Do something that you love so much that you would spend 24 hours a day doing it, because why do anything else?
And you've had success doing that as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about your advice for new artists? Same kind of thing.
A similar thing. You have to really love doing it, but you also need to understand that you're probably not going to make money for a while, but you need to jump on any not any, but like any opportunity that you feel okay with, do it. Even if like you're making nothing, because you probably won't. If you find somebody that you believe in and want to work with them, just offer to do something for them. Don't like have a price, you know. There's even when I was working with people in like major label, none of them got paid anything. They spent an enormous amount of time working with me because of what they believed in and what they thought it could potentially in the long run give to them. So I think there's a lot of things you have to think of for the long run, as opposed to like doing something now and having it an instant fix.
Nice. All right. I guess we have to wrap things up so that you guys can play a little music, which is the more, I don't know, it's the more exciting part of the show today.
It's the other part.
Yeah, the other part. But I love both of you guys musically and as people, and I feel like we got to have you back here. Maybe different shows, separate shows, whatever the deal is.
We'll be back tomorrow.
Okay, fine. But I love the fact that I got you here, that we wrestled you in, and I do appreciate your spending some time with us here on Fairfield 2.0. And let's get to the music, but before we go, let's wrap this up one more time with a nice bow. Jeffrey Hedquist, Assorted Flavors, and also Eli Lieb. One last one. And please hang in there, because we're going to be talking, we're going to be listening to some music right about now or so Jason is giving me the signal for. Okay. All right, thanks again, and thanks guys. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Eli Lieb, and this is an original song of mine called On Your Side. The color of a lightning strike is the color of you and I. I've been dreaming all through the night, tossing and turning as you stare into my eyes. I believed you even when you lied. But isn't it a shame that I was always on your side? Part of me still loves you to this day. But isn't it a shame that we could throw our love away? And isn't it a shame that we were made to play this game? Taste of the wound you bite is the taste of you and I've been thinking all through the night, tossing and turning as you stare into my eyes. I believed you even when you lied. Isn't it a shame that I was always on your side? Part of me still loves you to this day. But isn't it a shame that we could throw our love away? Isn't it a shame that we were made to play this game? your side. Part of me still loves you to this day. Isn't it a shame that we could throw our love away? Isn't it a shame that we were made to play this game? Hey, this is Eli Lieb again, and this is a cover of a Britney Spears song called Unusual You. Nothing about you is typical. Nothing about you's predictable. You got me all twisted, confused. It's so you. Up till now I thought I knew love. Nothing to lose and it's damage, 'cause patterns will fall as quick as I do. But now bridges are burning, baby, I'm learning a new way of thinking now. Love, I can see nothing will be just like it was. Is that because, baby, you're so unusual? Didn't anyone tell you you're supposed to break my heart? I expect you to. So why haven't you? Maybe you're not even human, 'cause only an angel could be so unusual. Sweet surprise I could get used to. Unusual you. Oh, oh, oh. Unusual you. Oh, oh, oh. Been so many things when I was someone else. Boxer in the ring, trying to defend myself. In the private eye to see what's going on. That's long gone. When I'm with you, I can't just be myself. You're always where you say you will be. Shocking, 'cause I never knew love like this could exist. Tables are turning, my heart is soaring. You'll never let me down. Love, I can see nothing will be just like it was. Is that because, baby, you're so unusual? Didn't anyone tell you you're supposed to break my heart? I expect you to. So why haven't you? Maybe you're not even human, 'cause only an angel could be so unusual. Sweet surprise I could get used to. Unusual you. Oh, oh, oh. Unusual you. Oh, oh, oh. Unusual you.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Hedquist. This is a song I wrote called Hurricane's Eye, and it's really about all the times that I travel around the country and then finally come back to Fairfield. It's a reminder of what chaos a lot of the world is in and what a great community this is. And it's also kind of an analogy to that outside world and the world that we have inside of us that we too few times get in touch with. It's called Hurricane's Eye. Can you hear the wind howling outside? It's like a tornado and there's no place to hide. But there's peace in the heart of this little town. Let's break it wide open and spread it around. You thunder, see the lightning in the sky, living here in the hurricane's eye. There's so many people living in pain. They're out in the storm, they're caught in the rain. We need a change in the weather, a break in the clouds. Hey, how about some sunshine? Oh, shout it out loud. Up on the horizon, you can see it if you try. A ray of hope in the hurricane's eye, in the hurricane's eye. Hey! I don't have to tell you what you know is true. There's not enough time, ooh, we got too much to do. We're so scared of losing, we don't know how to win. And the only way out is to go deep within. Now if your world is stormy and you feel like you could cry, find your way to the hurricane's eye, to the hurricane's eye. Oh, find your way, find your own way. Oh, find your way to the hurricane's eye. Hi, it's Jeffrey Headquist. This is a song that I wrote for a friend of mine as a tribute because of the gift she gave me, which was allowing me to have a series of conversations with her in the last months of her life as she made the transition from the physical to the non-physical. She gave me a lot of great lessons, and this is my small repayment to her. Never knew what I could learn from Jessica until I saw the world through her eyes. And as she lived, she learned to give all the love she'd hidden in disguise. Oh, sometimes she tried to laugh and she would cry. Night I got the call for help from Jessica. She said, I hate to bother, but I need a friend. I'm so alone, facing the unknown. It feels like the beginning of the end. Now Jessica no longer pretends. Searching for the words to say to Jessica. It's not been easy, they all sound the same. She struggles too, as we all do, to try and find the lessons in the pain. Now Jessica knows no one's to blame. People walk on by the room where Jessica lies in bed and listens to a voice from deep inside that for years has tried to tell her she has a choice. Now Jessica can finally rejoice. standing in the lonely room where Jessica taught me by example how to face the final door we each wait for, to find inside the love we used to chase. Oh, we'd give up everything for just a taste. When you told me that the end was near, oh Jessica, I said it may be the beginning, I can't tell. For every night you find more light to navigate the journey to yourself. And Jessica, I wish you well. Oh Jessica, I wish you well. Hi, this is Jeffrey Headquist, and this is a song that started actually a couple of summers ago when I was attempting to do manly work and pull up a rusted old barbed wire fence in the middle of one of the hottest, humidest days in southeast Iowa. And that's where the song started, but sometimes songs have a life of their own, and it ended up in a slightly different place. It's called Pulling Up Fences. Temperature's close to 100, humidity's at 90%. I've been cursing the heat all morning, trying to pull up this stubborn old fence. I called up my neighbor to help me, and he came out to lend me a hand. With a chain in his John Deere tractor, we pulled out those fences and freed up the land. Oh, we were pulling up fences, tearing down the walls, coming to my senses, answering the call, that's all. They say that good fences make good neighbors. Well, I'm not so sure that's true. When we opened up those fields again, it gave us a new point of view. Some fences are planted in pastures, some walls are built between friends. The sun is high and the day is long, but here's where the hard work begins. And so I'm pulling up fences, tearing down the walls, coming to my senses, answering the call, that's all. My life I've put in some fences that I regret today, but it feels good to be pulling them out, 'cause they just seem to get in the way. Everywhere I go, I see fences standing between us two. If we just let down our pretenses, you could see me and I could see you, and we'll be pulling up fences, tearing down the walls, coming to my senses, answering the call, that's all. We're pulling up fences, tearing down the walls, answering the call. Hi, it's Jeffrey Headquist with, let's just call it an unexpected love song. She wasn't pretty, she wasn't sexy, she didn't have a great personality. She'd been around the block a few times. She was available, and that was fine. Now you may be wondering what I saw in her. This relationship seemed a little odd, but I couldn't help falling in love with that 1952 Dodge. I named her Edith, can't remember why, but the name seemed to fit at the time. Her dashboard was dusty and her doors were rusty, but to me, she was sublime. She was built nice and wide for a comfortable ride. Her upholstery was plastic plaid. She was tough, she was loyal, she burned too much oil. She was noisy, she smoked, she was bad. Some of you may not understand a boy's love for his first car, but with a tank full of gas and a gallon of oil, ooh, Edith could make me a star. Every weekend we'd all pile into Edith. She looked like an overstuffed telephone booth. We'd head out into the night looking for fun when we could have been searching for truth. Oh, Edith, where are you now? The race is running, the flag is down. I remember how it used to be rolling down that highway. You and me, those wild nights are now old memories. Edith, where are you now? While I was away in the army, my dad wrote me to say, Edith, just stop running. And we had to tow her away. Oh, that was the end of a beautiful love affair. There were no more replacement parts. I still can't help wondering if my leaving her was what finally broke her heart. Oh, Edith, where are you now? Your race is run and the flag is down. I remember how it used to be rolling down that highway. You and me, those wild nights are now old memories. Edith, where are you now? Edith, have you been recycled? Has your spirit taken new wings? As toasters and pails and sixpenny nails, maybe even these guitar strings. Though I've since replaced you with other cars in my garage, there's still an empty parking space in my heart for that beat-up 52 Dodge. Oh, Edith, where are you now? The race is run and the flag is down. I remember how it used to be rolling down that highway. You and me, those wild nights are now old memories. Edith, where are you now? Edith, where are you now?